You know, when we talk about retirement, we really love simple rules, right? The 4% rule has been this guiding star for decades, but what if that one fixed number is actually, well, holding you back from enjoying your retirement even more? Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful idea. Your safe withdrawal rate isn't set in stone, it's dynamic. So let's explore what that actually means.
Okay, let's be honest. This is the question we all ask ourselves, right? I mean, you've saved all this money, so why can't you just start spending a little more of it, like right from day one? It sounds totally logical, but as you're about to see, when you ask that question, that's everything. All right, first things first, let's talk about the classic approach, this idea of a fixed, safe withdrawal rate, the famous 4% rule. It's pretty simple. You take out a set percentage in your very first year of retirement, and then you just adjust that dollar amount for inflation every single year after that. It's straightforward, it's stable, but you know what? It's also super rigid. All right, take a look at this. This chart, this is going to be our map for today. It's based on a whopping 5,000 simulations of a 50-50 stock and bond portfolio. And believe me, it holds the key to a much more flexible way of thinking about how you spend your money in retirement. Let me walk you through it.
So that vertical axis you see, that's your retirement timeline. The higher you are on the chart, the longer your money has to last. Makes sense, right? So if you're just starting a 40-year retirement, you're way up at the top.
Now the horizontal axis, the one going side to side, that's all about your spending. That's your withdrawal rate. So the more you move to the right, the bigger the percentage of your portfolio you're taking out each year. And then you've got the colors. The colors are basically telling you your odds of success. Just think of it like a traffic light. Super simple. Green? You're good to go. That's a nearly 100% chance your money's going to last. Yellow is, proceed with caution. And red? Well, red means you've got a more than 10% chance of running out of cash. Not great.
Okay, so let's circle back to that first question we had. Why not just start with a higher withdrawal rate? Well, this chart shows us exactly why that's a problem. Look, if you're up at the top there, planning for a long 40-year retirement, and you try to slide over to a 5 or even 6% withdrawal rate, boom, you land right in that red danger zone. That right there is the big risk of starting too high, too early.
But, and this is a big but, here's where things get really interesting. You see that green arrow on the chart? That arrow represents the journey of a successful retirement. You start at the top, and every year that goes by, you're basically traveling down that path.
And this is the whole point. Every single year you make it through retirement, your remaining timeline gets shorter. So if you start with a 40-year timeline, after 10 years, you've only got 30 years left to plan for. You've literally moved down the chart, deeper into that safer, greener territory. Your whole risk profile has completely changed.
Let me put it another way. When you're early in retirement, that line between the green and the red, it's super steep. It's like walking along a cliff edge. Just a tiny little increase in your spending can push you right over, dramatically increasing your risk. But look what happens later on. That slope gets so much gentler. You have way more wiggle room to increase your spending without falling into that danger zone. Your ability to handle risk literally changes over time.
So why does this work? It's really for two simple reasons. First, like we just said, your timeline shrinks. Every year that passes puts you in a statistically safer spot on the map. And second, if you get through those tricky first few years, which is the riskiest period, your portfolio has had more time to potentially grow. And that means your withdrawals might end up being an even smaller percentage of a much bigger nest egg.
The source material for this really nails it with this quote. It says that once you've traveled down that arrow and you are well into safe space, you've basically earned the right to move to the right. You can actually increase your spending, feeling confident that you're still deep in that green zone with a super high success rate.
And looking at it this way actually gives us a couple of other really cool insights. For example, it shows that if your withdrawal rate is 3.5% or less, there's a really high chance your portfolio could last, well, basically forever. And on the flip side, if you're looking at a really short retirement, say less than 10 years, you could probably withdraw as much as 8% and still be pretty safe.
So this all brings us right back to where we started. The old way of thinking was all about picking one number and just sticking with it, rigidly, for decades. But what this data really shows us is that retirement isn't some static, one-time event. It's a journey. So the real question for you is this. Is your retirement plan built like a rigid rule, or is it designed to be a dynamic roadmap, one that can adapt as you successfully move through the years ahead?